everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Ebenezer. Hope you guys are doing well today. Today we're going to talk about getting the most from our training programs. Before you do, be sure to click on the link that takes you to our website for this lesson. You can download the page notes for this lesson. Be sure to print those out and use them as you go along. Also, you can access the podcast or the video for this lesson. So let's jump right into this and let's talk about how we can get the most out of our team training programs. If you're putting together training programs or you're part of the training team at your job or organization, then you know it can be really frustrating to try to find the right mix of training and location and delivery method to get the most out of it for your people and for your team. And so getting the most out of the training opportunities, we need to understand a little bit of the theory or the thoughts behind it. Training is all about developing other people. That can be a big group training. That can be one-on-one training with a person. It can be a mentoring relationship, but it's all the same. It's helping people develop either personally. It can be developing skill level. It can be learning policies and procedures. It can be a lot of different things, but it's developing people is what training is all about. So how can we get the most out of our training sessions? We have a limited amount of time with people. It's a resource for our companies and organizations, and we want to be as effective as we can and successful as we can. So how can we do that? Well, first of all, we really need to understand people and how they view the training programs, okay? By doing that, we can plan better, we can communicate better, we can develop our training sessions to be more effective and successful by understanding the way people think about training. And this is something that I've just learned over the years because I used to be all about having the coolest delivery methods and the best presentation methods and all this kind of stuff. But what I've learned here recently is that it's really understanding people and understanding the way they see the training and what they think about the training. And if we can sort of get that in our mind, we can really do some really nice work on our training and people want to really respond to it. So let's jump in. First thing we want to understand is we need to understand and learn how to teach others that training is hard work. And I know that sounds really silly, but so many times we sort of sugarcoat our training programs. And if you think about it, how many times have you said, oh, this is just going to be a quick 30-minute training. It's going to be simple. It's going to be easy. And so we get that in the mindset of people. But I think if we're just straightforward and honest with people and let them know, hey, we've got a really important training program coming up. It's going to be a 2-hour training. It's going to be intensive. I need you to show up and be ready to learn, but you're going to get some great stuff out of it. And I'll tell you more about that. But just be honest with your people. Just put it out there. Let them know exactly what to expect, exactly how much time to expect. How much effort it's going to take to do that. It's going to make a really big difference because if we sugarcoat our training programs and we have people with an expectancy of it's going to be a fun and a quick time and it ends up being an intensive training program, people are not going to get very much out of it. They're going to get frustrated with you and they're not going to want to respond to the next one. It's okay to be honest to say, hey, it requires time to be devoted to it, okay? And so, we need people to be willing to be devoted to the time that we set for our trainings. It's going to require hard work sometimes to complete it. And just be honest with that. This is going to be an intensive training. It's going to take a lot of focus and it's going to take some homework. It's going to take some study, but there's going to be a great reward for it. And then, learning a new skill requires patience. And so we need to tell people that, say, look, this is going to be something new. We got a new policy. We got a new procedure. We're doing things a new way. And it's going to take some patience and it's going to, take some time to get it down just right. But we're going to do it together and just put it all out there. That's really, really important. Always stress the benefit of the training program. This is something that I think we forget so many times is we say, okay, we've got a training program you need to be at Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for an hour, and that's all we say. But if we'll take the time and say, we've got a training program Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for an hour, it's going to benefit you. It's going to help you be more successful in your job by learning this skill set. We're going to teach you how to do this particular thing, and this is going to benefit you. You're going to be more successful at it. Then that's going to allow that person to have a mindset, oh, maybe I'm going to get something that's really going to help me out of this training instead of, oh, it's just another training thing. So make sure that you really take time to teach the person why that training is needed and what the person's going to get out of the training. That really makes a big difference. If they come in looking forward to the training because they're going to get something out of it that's going to help them be more successful, then you're going to have a whole better attendance and be more effective in your training. And then thirdly, understand that people's going to sell out to their leader before they sell out to the training. And what I mean by that, if you're the team lead, then if you're leading them and they're sold out to you and they're on fire for you and they believe in you, they're going to attend the training and they're going to do their best. Okay. But if you're not leading them very well and they're not sold out to you, it doesn't matter what kind of training program you got, how good that training program is, they're not going to sell out to it. So make sure that you're leading first before you ask them to do something else. All right, that's going to take us to our next one. Number 2, be sensitive to training resistance. And if you're like me, there's always resistance. Okay, when you say training, it's like everybody's got every excuse in the book. And nobody looks forward to training. But be sensitive to the reasons behind the resistance. And what I mean by that, people need to understand that life is busy. Okay, and what I mean by that is, whether it's work or volunteer or ministry or whatever you're doing training for, people have other things going on in life, okay? And so don't underestimate the importance of their time. And a lot of times, we'll call meetings all throughout the week at night or on the weekends and stuff, and we don't always think about what are people having to give up to be at that training. So understand that, sort of be thinking about that when you plan that training time. Give them plenty of time ahead to get it on their calendar. And if people can or can't make it, because of certain things, try to understand that. Put yourself in their shoes. Another reason that people are resistant to training is because they believe that common sense, maturity, and life experiences are all they need. I've heard it so many times is, I've been doing this for 30 years and I know everything there is to know about it and all that kind of stuff, and you hear it all the time. But help people understand there's always a new way to learn the same old thing. There's always a new way to present or do the same old job. And there's always some way to look at the same thing differently. And so if we can sort of take those people and sort of get them to understand, I know you've been doing this for 30 years and you're really good at it, but I want you to come see a new way to do it and a new way to approach it. And maybe it'll help you even be more successful. And a lot of times by engaging those kind of people with that thought, it helps you get them to the training and for them to actually participate. All right, number 3, we need to understand that people fear being inadequate. And a lot of times when we ask people to training and it's on a new skill level and doing something they're uncomfortable with, then they're real skittish about it. They feel uncomfortable about that. And so what you want to do is sort of really pay attention to the people that's taking the training. And every once in a while, you're going to get a training coming up that one person or a few people in that group really don't feel comfortable with the training and they're sort of nervous about it. A lot of times you'll know that because they're going to make jokes about it. They'll joke around about, oh, I'm never going to learn this or whatever. But take that and just sort of make a mental note of that, because that person may need some specialized training. They may need like one-on-one. And by doing that, you're going to help that person be successful. You're going to show them that you value them. Even if this is something they struggle with, you're willing to put the time in to do that. But a couple things we can do for that is specialize on in-service training or one-on-one training when needed. Ease people into their position, especially if you're in a volunteer organization or ministry. Don't just send them to training and throw them out there to the wolves, so to speak. Ease people into it. Be there with them, work with them through it, and when they're comfortable and they're confident in themselves, then give them full control over that position. And then encourage and help build their confidence. And this is really huge as a leader, guys, and as a team leader especially, is if you're there and encourage people along the way and you're helping build their confidence, they're always going to perform, okay? And they're going to be more comfortable in that training session and learning something new and doing something they're not comfortable with because they know that you're there for them. You're going to be there to help build their confidence. All right, number 4, be willing to tailor the training program. And what I mean by this is there's not always a training program that works for everybody or every situation. So learn to fit your training to the people, okay? And there's a lot of different ways to do this. Decide if a one-on-one training is needed or if it works well in a group training. Be careful not to use a whole group training session to identify issues that only one person needs help with. And a lot of times, especially in nonprofits and ministry areas, we're really bad about saying, well, I'm going to teach the whole group this just so this one person can get it, and I don't want to call them out or embarrass them, so I'm going to just do it to the whole group. While that's a good thought and the theory behind it makes sense, what happens is that other people that don't need that lesson, they'll feel like you're wasting their time. So make sure you make that decision. Is it better for one-on-one or group training? Then look at your detailed training or generalized training. And it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what needs to be done. But if it's one of those intensive training workshops, that needs to happen step by step, everybody needs to bring the notebook and pens, then make sure that's what you offer. If it's just a general meeting, a team meeting going over calendars or budgets and plans and visions and stuff, then it's going to be more generalized. But understand when you need to use those two different types of meetings and which one's going to be the most effective for what you want to accomplish. And then last of all, be flexible. There's so many different ways to train today. Technology is just amazing. I just can't keep up with it, but there's always something new. But, you can do in-person trainings. You can do it over video chat. You can do video like YouTube videos and stuff like that in training. You can do podcast, audio. There's so many options for training. Find the one that works the best for you and your team and make it happen. Then last of all, challenge your team members. And guys, this is so important. And I know this sounds weird coming from a training aspect of it, but it's really important when we train people that we issue challenges to the people in our training. Issuing challenges results in team increases and in growth. So many times we're sort of, don't really want to challenge people because we feel like we're going to turn them off or it's going to result in a decrease. But the statistics show that if we constantly challenge our people, of course, in a positive way, but if we issue challenges to our team members and to our people, that we're going to see an increase with our team instead of a decrease. People need to see and understand their importance, and this is really important. If we have a team and we've got team members on that team that don't understand how important they are to the team and how they are important to us, then they're going to start backing off. They're not going to give that 100%. They're going to give just enough to get by. So we need to make sure they know how important they are to the team. And then outline what's expected of every team member and discuss it with them. And I know this sounds real corporate America if you're in a volunteer organization or a ministry, but it's so important, especially with volunteer organizations and ministry, because a lot of times we ask people to do things, but we don't really give them a sort of job description or a list of expectations. And this doesn't have to be, all hard and corporate expectations, but just sit down with that person one-on-one and say, hey, this is the position you're taking. This is what we are expecting out of this position. How do you feel about that? Is it something that you feel realistically you can do? And what I found out is when you sit down and begin to talk to people about what you expect from them, they're usually going to supersede that a lot because they've got great ideas, they're passionate about it, and they want to be successful. So be sure that you're giving people some expectations there and they understand what their job is and how they function on your team. And then as a leader, we need to really understand the power of holding people accountable. And again, in nonprofit organizations and ministry, we really shy away from that because we're so scared we're going to hurt somebody's feelings, we're going to run somebody off, and we need every single volunteer there is. But it's usually the opposite. If people know that we're going to hold them accountable in a nice way, now I'm not talking about being ugly to people and downgrading people and making them feel inferior, but I'm talking about just holding people accountable, then we're going to see great benefit on the team. When we hold people accountable and they understand their importance to the team, we're going to see better performance from that person. We're going to see better attendance from that person. They're going to be there. They're going to be on time. They're going to be ready to go because they understand how important their job is and that we're watching them and that we're going to hold them accountable. And then it really helps team members feel part of the team. And so it's really important that we challenge our team members and that we hold them accountable for what their job duty is. And ultimately, that results in a better team, in a better training. So if our people come in and they know that we're going to hold them accountable for being there and whatever they learn, we're going to challenge them in that way, then you're going to have a whole different team meeting and an outcome on it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this short video on getting the most out of your team meetings and how understanding people and how they look at training can be a powerful tool that you can use to get the most out of trainings. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop me an email at info@thedailyebenezer.com. I'd love to respond to you. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.